The fire and the fall the sky above planet Draxion was calm, until a burning fireball tore through the clouds. It wasn't a meteor. It was a royal escape pod. Inside the pod, Princess Valari Threx, daughter of the High Empress of the Zalari Empire, gripped her seat tightly. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the chamber. The pod shook violently as it entered the atmosphere. Outside, the royal cruiser was already destroyed, blown apart by an unknown enemy. Her royal guards were gone. Her mother's last words still echoed in her mind. "Run, Valari, survive." With a thunderous crash, the escape pod slammed into the dense alien forest below. Trees snapped, the ground shook, then silence. Valari's world faded into blackness. When she opened her eyes, her head throbbed. Her silver armor was cracked. Her breathing was shallow. She looked around, wreckage everywhere, broken trees, fire, smoke, and blood. She tried to stand, but her right leg screamed in pain. She had fallen on it during the crash. It was twisted, likely fractured. She was alone. "No, no, no, no," she whispered, dragging herself out of the broken pod. Her once shining white and blue royal robe was now torn and covered in ash. Her prideful eyes scanned the area. Nothing but forest. No signal, no comms. She was a princess, a highborn, a symbol of power, and now, helpless. She crawled a few feet away and collapsed near a rock. The sun above was strange, too red. The air was heavy, hot. Her body trembled, not from cold, but fear. Would they come for her? Were her people even alive? Was this planet safe? Then she heard it. Footsteps, fast, heavy, not alien, not machine. Something clumsy. From the trees, a figure emerged, a human. He looked rough, beard unshaved, shirt torn. A survivor, a soldier, a human male. His name, though she didn't know it yet, was Cole Mercer, former Earth Federation Special Forces, stranded on Draxion for months. Valari's heart jumped. Her hands reached for a plasma dagger, but she didn't have one. She could only stare in shock as the human ran toward her. He knelt beside her and quickly began checking her body for wounds. "Don't touch me," Valari screamed, shoving his hand away. Her voice was fierce, royal. "How dare you lay your filthy hands on a highborn?" Cole looked confused for a moment, but not offended. He spoke calmly. "You're bleeding. I need to see your leg." Valari's nostrils flared. "You will die for this insult." Cole ignored her. Before she could argue again, he gently lifted her leg. She gasped in pain. "Bones likely broken," he muttered. "We need to get you somewhere safe. You're not going to survive out here." She glared at him. "I would rather die than be touched by your kind." "Okay," Cole said. "Then, die." He stood up and turned away. Valari's heart froze. Was he serious? No one had ever turned their back on her before. She watched him walk a few steps toward the trees. But then, a loud growl echoed through the jungle. Something large was approaching. A shadow moved in the trees. Cole saw it too. Without another word, he rushed back and scooped Valari into his arms. She shrieked in fury. "Put me down, you brute!" He didn't respond. He just ran. Fast. Through the forest, over roots and rocks, he ran like a soldier trained for danger. Behind them, something massive chased, snapping branches, howling with rage. Valari clung to Cole without thinking, her hands clutching his shirt tightly. After minutes of breathless running, he ducked into a rocky cave hidden behind a waterfall. The creature outside roared, sniffed, then slowly left. Cole set her down on a flat rock. He breathed hard but kept his eyes alert. Valari looked at him with hate, and something else. Confusion. He had saved her life. She wiped her hands on her robe. "You touched me." "I saved you," Cole replied. "You're welcome." Silence. The cave was cold and damp. Her leg ached. Her pride burned more. Valari turned away, her voice a whisper now. "Don't think this changes anything, human," Cole chuckled. Didn't expect it to, Princess. Her eyes widened. He knew who she was. She watched him move to the cave entrance and begin setting up small motion traps. Not for her, but for whatever creature might return. In that moment, Valari didn't know what made her more uncomfortable, the pain in her leg, or the feeling growing in her chest. A feeling she wasn't ready to understand yet. Shelter in the storm. The cave shook as thunder cracked outside. Rain began to pour, but not ordinary rain. It hissed, each drop burned through leaves and sizzled on the rocks. It was acid rain, deadly, common in Draxian's red jungle storms. One touch could scar the skin forever. Princess Valari sat against the cold wall of the cave, hugging her injured leg. She winced as pain shot through her thigh. Her royal robe was still damp, and her silver crown piece now looked like dull scrap metal. This was not how a highborn was supposed to live. Not like this. Across the small space, Cole sat by the entrance, watching the rain fall like a soldier scanning a battlefield. Valari glared at him, then looked away. The silence between them wasn't peaceful. It was heavy. It was full of questions, regrets, and unspoken emotions. Cole finally broke it. That thing that chased us, it was a Tharn beast. You're lucky I found you. Valari's voice was cold. You call this luck? Being handled like cargo by a human with no manners? Cole glanced at her leg. You're alive, aren't you? I'd rather not be, if it means staying near you. Cole stood up and walked deeper into the cave without saying another word. Valari watched him disappear into the darkness. She almost felt relieved. But then a sound startled her, his voice, soft, from the shadows. I found wood. Going to try and make a fire, he returned with wet alien branches and strange glowing fungus he crushed with his hands. The cave lit up dimly. Valari looked away, refusing to admit she was impressed. He struck sparks with 2 rocks. It took minutes. His fingers bled. But soon, a fire was born. Warmth spread across the cave. Valari hated that it felt good. Cole removed his jacket and laid it near her. Wrap this around your shoulders. Your skin's getting pale. I will not wear human cloth. He shrugged. Suit yourself. He sat again, arms crossed, staring into the flames. She expected more arrogance. She expected him to lecture her, brag, or try to get closer. He didn't. In fact, he didn't say anything for the next hour, and that bothered her more than if he had spoken. Valari finally whispered, her voice uncertain. Why do you not fear me? Cole looked up. Should I? I'm the daughter of an empress, a royal. You touched me. That is punishable by death. Funny, Cole said. I didn't see any guards around to carry out your punishment. That stung, but he wasn't wrong. Valari lowered her eyes. Still, you didn't have to save me. Cole poked the fire. Yeah, I didn't, but I did. That's kind of a human thing. Valari frowned. Why? He looked at her now. His eyes were calm, but sad. Because I saw someone who needed help. Another silence. This time, not heavy. This time, thoughtful. Lightning flashed outside the cave. The acid rain kept falling, loud and deadly. Valari shivered. Not from fear, but something else. She looked at the human sitting quietly near the fire, guarding the entrance, still watching for danger. A protector. Her pride told her to insult him again. Her heart said something very different, but she wasn't ready to listen to that voice yet. Not yet. She leaned her head back, eyes closing. For the first time since the crash, she let herself breathe. And in the corner of her mind, one thought echoed. Maybe. All humans aren't monsters. The wound and the warning. The fire was dying. Smoke curled toward the cave ceiling. The acid rain outside had finally slowed, but the forest remained dark and dangerous. Valari opened her eyes slowly. Her skin was damp. Her leg, still aching. The pain had changed. It wasn't sharp anymore. It was burning. She touched her thigh and gasped. It was hot, too hot, and swelling. Something was wrong. Cole noticed. He moved closer. "Let me see it." Valari flinched. "No, don't come near me." "You're burning up," he said, voice calm but firm. "That leg's infected." "I said no," she snapped, crawling away slightly. "I won't be exposed." "To your hands again." Cole didn't move. He just looked at her, serious and quiet. "Listen," he said. "I've seen what this jungle infection does. It spreads fast. If it reaches your heart, you'll die before sunrise." She looked at him, fear hiding behind her eyes. "You're trying to scare me." "I am," he replied honestly. "Because this isn't a royal palace. This is survival." Valari's lips trembled, but she still held her pride like a shield. "We Zalari do not expose our bodies to outsiders." Cole opened his small survival kit. Just basic tools, old gauze, some herbs from the jungle he crushed into a paste. "Fine," he said. "Then die proud." He stood, turned away again. Valari froze. Why? Why did that feel worse than pain? The firelight danced on the cave walls. Her leg pulsed. Her body trembled. And finally, "Wait," she whispered. Cole didn't move. Allow it," she said softly. "Only for treatment." He returned, no victory in his face, no smugness, only focus. She turned her face to the wall as he gently rolled up her robe. The sight made even him pause. The skin was red, swollen, almost glowing with heat. "I'll have to cut around it to drain the poison." Valari's eyes widened. "Cut?" He pulled out a thin blade. "Just a little. Trust me." "I don't trust you." "Then close your eyes and scream if it helps." She did. The first touch of the blade made her gasp. The second made her grab his arm, but Cole kept his hand steady. He cleaned the wound, placed the herbal paste, and wrapped her leg tightly with the best he had. When it was over, Valari didn't speak. Her face was pale, her body sweaty, her heart confused. "You did this before?" she asked after a while. "Too many times," Cole said, rinsing the blood off his hands. "Humans bleed a lot too." "Even your own people don't deserve that pain," she murmured, surprising herself. Cole looked at her. "Pain doesn't care about race, rank, or royalty. It just comes." She blinked. No reply. The cave returned to silence, but it was different this time. Not cold, not awkward. She still didn't know who this man was, but for the first time in her life, a touch from someone below her. Station didn't feel like shame. It felt like care, and that scared her more than any infection. The rescue that changed everything. Night had fallen, but it wasn't peaceful. The jungle outside the cave was alive with growls, clicks, and deep howling cries. Strange eyes glowed in the dark trees. Valari couldn't sleep. Her legs still throbbed, but her heart beat faster for another reason: unease. She looked at Cole, who sat near the entrance again, holding a piece of metal like a blade. His body was tense. His eyes scanned the forest. "What is it?" she asked, voice hushed. He didn't answer at first. Then he whispered, "We're being watched." Valari's blood turned cold. Before she could respond, the cave lit up, bright. Red light flashed from outside. A beast twice the size of a soldier with 6 legs, razor-sharp arms, and glowing green eyes leapt into the cave. Valari screamed, the beast roared, and its saliva hissed on the stone floor. It smelled like acid and death. Cole didn't hesitate. He rushed the beast with nothing but the scrap blade in his hand. The monster swung a claw. It slashed across his side. Blood sprayed the wall. Valari's mouth fell open. "No, stop!" But Cole didn't stop. He stabbed the blade into the beast's neck. It roared again and slammed him against the rock. Valari dragged herself toward them, but she was too slow. Then Cole grabbed a sharp rock and drove it into the beast's eye. The creature shrieked, spun wildly, then collapsed with a heavy thud. Cole fell next to it, gasping, bleeding. Valari reached him. Her hands trembled as she pulled him close. "You idiot," she whispered. "You stupid human." He smiled weakly. "Still hate me?" Valari didn't answer. She pressed her hand to his wound. His blood was warm. His face was pale. She looked at the beast, then back at him. He fought for her, bled for her, nearly died for her. No royal guard had ever done that. Not for her. "You risked your life. For me," she said softly. "You're the only pretty thing on this planet," Cole joked, voice barely a whisper. Valari stared at him. For a moment, time froze. She leaned in, pressing her forehead gently to his. "Rest," she said. "I will. Guard now." Cole passed out. Valari sat next to him, holding his hand tightly, not as a royal, but as a woman who no longer saw a human as low. In fact, she didn't know what she saw him as now, but it was something more. Questions in the dark. The fire had gone cold. Smoke rose in weak wisps and the cave walls were quiet, except for the soft breathing of a human and an alien who had stopped seeing each other as enemies. Valari hadn't slept. Not once. She sat beside, Cole watching him breathe. His face was bruised, his shirt soaked in dried blood. She had bandaged his side with her own robe, tearing the royal cloth without hesitation. That alone would have shocked her, just days ago. Now, it didn't matter. What mattered was him, his warmth, his silence, his bravery. Valari didn't understand it, and that frustrated her even more. She whispered, "Why did you do it?" Cole stirred but didn't open his eyes. She asked again, louder, "Why did you fight that beast? Like that? Why would you nearly die for someone who insulted you, mocked you, hated you?" This time he opened his eyes, just a little. His voice was rough. "Because I don't need a reason to save someone." Valari blinked. "No gain? No reward?" she asked softly. "Nope," he whispered. "You needed help. That's all." Valari looked away, chewing her lip. "On my world, no one gives without expecting something back." Cole looked at her for a long moment, then chuckled. "Sounds lonely." That one word hit her like a strike to the heart. Lonely. She had never thought about it before. She was always surrounded by guards, servants, nobles, but no one ever sat with her in silence and cared if she was in pain. Not like this. "You. Humans are strange," she muttered. Cole smiled weakly. "We get that a lot." She leaned her head back against the cave wall. Her voice was almost a whisper now. "You don't talk like a soldier." "I wasn't always one," he replied. "Before the war, I was just a mechanic. Fixed ships. Smelled like grease every day." Valari turned to look at him. "But you fight like someone who lost everything." Cole didn't answer. He didn't have to. The silence said it all. Valari leaned closer. "Did you lose someone?" He nodded slowly. "A sister. She was a nurse. Got caught in a crossfire during a ceasefire. No one paid for it." "I'm sorry," she said. He shrugged. "Pain is part of being alive, but kindness, and that's a choice." Valari stared at him for a long time. This human wasn't like the others she had heard about. He wasn't wild or dangerous. He was good. And that scared her, because her world had no room for kindness without cost. But now something was changing in her heart. She didn't even know what to call it. All she knew was she didn't want to lose him. Not now. Not ever. She quietly pulled the human's jacket around his chest. He didn't stop her. For the first time, she whispered, "Sleep well, Cole Mercer. I will watch over you tonight." And she meant it, the return to her people. The sound came just after dawn, a low hum, then a flash of blue light. Cole woke first, blinking at the brightness outside the cave. Valari sat upright, her heart pounding. The sky above the trees shimmered. A royal search ship, Solari make, hovered above the forest. Her people had come. She should have felt relief. She didn't. Cole helped her stand, still sore from the wound in his side. Valari looked at him, and then at the ship. Her heart was split in two. The ship landed a few meters away. Royal guards rushed forward in silver armor, weapons ready. A tall figure stepped from the craft. Captain Nerival, her mother's most loyal commander. "Princess Valari," he shouted. "We feared. You were dead." "I live," she said calmly, standing tall despite her healing leg. Nerival's eyes shifted to the human. His face turned cold. "A human?" he growled. "He was with you?" Valari nodded once. "He saved my life," she said. Nerival didn't like that. "That's impossible. They're animals. He likely captured you." Valari stepped forward. "He carried me through the jungle. He fought off a thorn beast with a metal stick. He treated my wounds when I would have died." Nerival raised his blaster. "Then you've seen too much, human. For touching royal blood, death is the price." "No," Valari shouted. Everyone froze. Valari stepped between Cole and the guard. "If you fire that weapon, you'll strike me first." Nerival's face twisted. "Princess, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," she cut in. "This man has more honor in his scars than some nobles do in their crowns." The guards looked at each other in shock. No one had ever heard her speak this way before. Nerival lowered his blaster slowly. "Very well," he said tightly. "He may live, but he is not welcome. Come, let us take you home." Valari looked back at Cole. He didn't say anything, didn't beg, didn't ask. He just gave her a small smile. "Guess this is goodbye." She felt her chest tighten. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. "Thank you." Cole nodded. "Stay safe, Your Highness." She hated that title now. As she was helped into the ship, she looked down at her hand and realized she was still holding a torn piece of his shirt. She didn't let go, not even when the ship rose into the sky, not even when her palace came into view, not even when the stars swallowed the forest. In her hand was a broken cloth. In her heart, something whole had just begun. Regret in her throne. The palace was silent when she returned. No cheers, no celebration. Princess Valari walked through the tall golden halls like a stranger in her own home. Her steps echoed off marble floors. Servants bowed, nobles watched, but no one dared speak to her. She wasn't the same anymore, and everyone could feel it. Valari sat back on her grand crystal throne. Everything around her glittered, jewels, lights, silk. Yet her hands gripped a torn piece of cloth, a simple, dirty strip from a human's shirt. She stared at it for hours. She thought of the cave, of the pain, the silence, the kindness, the man who had no reason to save her but did anyway, Cole Mercer. A name now carved deep into her heart. Every part of her world told her to forget him, but her heart refused. Days passed, then weeks. Valari attended meetings, stood in front of courts, and nodded through dull briefings. But her mind drifted far away, to a dark cave, a quiet human, and a fire that warmed more than just her skin. One morning, a royal ambassador entered her chamber holding a sealed report. "Your Highness, the Earth Federation requests peace talks. They've sent a human representative to negotiate terms." Valari stood slowly. "Name?" The ambassador flipped through the page. "A Captain Mercer, Cole Mercer." She didn't speak. She didn't breathe. Then, she smiled. Later that evening, her royal ship cut through the stars, headed toward neutral space. Valari stood at the viewing window, her heart racing, hands still holding the same cloth. This time she was the one coming to him. Not because of duty, not because of war, but because he had touched her heart. Without even knowing. And now she would finally say the words she couldn't in that cave. I don't care about your blood, your rank, or your race. You saved me, not just my life, but the part of me I didn't know was dying. As the stars passed by, Valari didn't feel like a princess, she felt human. And that, she realized, wasn't a weakness, it was a gift.